The N-word. It's like the Voldemort of words. Everybody knows it, everybody talks about it, and nobody really knows the damage it can cause. Except for the entire continent of Africa and its descendants.
Fucking stupid bitch! This stupid fucking justice, all fucking righteous fucking
Nestle. We know companies like Monsanto was spraying neighborhoods with pig feces and pesticides. So basically, every country, well that too, but every company is shit. But because y'all have big backs, Monsanto was able to get away with not only mold in Capri Suns, mold in lean cuisines, other than the fact that they taste like Yankee Danky Doodle shit, and I'm sure you saw this coming, but they also own Nestle. Not a single major change has been made with any substantial long-term impact. At least, the other companies act like they care. The most destructive N-word of all time, except for Hellcat owners. 99.8% accuracy with hidden hard rock double time, no slider brakes, full combo. Make no mistake, we could probably find some level of exploitation in most companies, large and small alike, but Nestle's pretty bad. At least they don't do things that are similar to the other N-word. Human rights violations. Nestle has a strong track record of using child labor, just like the other N-word. Nestle, however, traveled due west between 0 and 30 degrees of longitude, and instead of using sweatshops, they used the sweat sun.
Attention, this is your captain speaking. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is we'll be landing immediately. The bad news is we're crash landing.
In Western Africa, children between 12 and 15 years of age are working ludicrous hours for little to no pay, basically nothing. The International Labor Rights Fund opened a case against Nestle in 2005, and they denied all accusations, of course. Over multiple years, Nestle worked to get this off their back, even at a certain point going to the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals. The big boys, it was denied. That nigga is guilty! A bombshell drops many years later. In 2016, around 2.1 million starving African children are still working for this company with 0 labor rights.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa!
That's too damn bad!
84 cents per day, and in the worst places, such as the Ivory Coast, which is known for their cocoa bean production, they're getting paid 50 cents per day. And at that rate, they can purchase one single king-size Kit Kat bar after working in the desert for 7 days. The same producer that exploits their country for its natural resources and the people inside of it would not supply them the fruits of their labor for less than 112 hours of work. In 2021, a class action lawsuit filed by 8 former child slaves from Mali alleged that the company aided and abetted their enslavement on cocoa plantations in the Ivory Coast. Yes, slavery still exists. It's called indentured servitude. It's called mining cobalt for phone batteries. It's called the US prison system. I was just talking about chocolate. Let me get back on track.
Like, the comments are lit. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Let's go.
Nestle, along with Barry Callebaut, Cargill, Mars Incorporated, Olam International, the Hershey Company, and Mondelez International, of knowingly engaging in forced labor. The plaintiffs sought damages for unjust enrichment, negligent supervision, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, and the case was thrown out. Lawsuit dismissed in 2021 by the US Supreme Court. They went back to the big boys this time. They just had bigger pockets.
My beats are sick. My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's because Jesus Christ is my...
Nestle's baby formula is not good for babies. I don't fully understand this part because it makes no sense to me. How is your baby formula not good for babies? But let me give it to you in like an analogy. You asked for mint ice cream and Nestle gave you pistachio. You don't even like pistachio ice cream. So Nestle says, well, why did you ask for it? And in this case, you would go, I didn't fucking ask for pistachio ice cream, you fucking troglodyte. I asked for mint ice cream. Why did you ask for life-threatening chemicals if you didn't like it? I didn't ask for life-threatening chemicals. I asked for affordable baby formula. But you were given pistachio by the illusion of choice. You never had a choice to get mint ice cream. You were gonna get pistachio whether you liked it or not, because they look the same. Greenwashing and environmental crimes.
What did you say?
Nestle, while pushing for proper disposal of their goods and claiming that they do a lot for the environment, don't actually do a lot. It's kind of like how Apple says they have net zero carbon emissions, but they actually use carbon credits to offset their carbon output. Realistically, they spend more resources and energy lobbying the government so they can get an exclusion. Also known as the N-word pass. Nestle, and other than polluting the environment with microplastics and greenhouse gas emissions, they're really shitty with deforestation, specifically in the national parks of the Ivory Coast and Ghana. Not only is that bad for the country and the wildlife itself, but it also shows a certain lack of care that they try to act like they have. You say you care, but then you deforest these countries to a point where the densely forested areas that were once thriving are now at a record low of 4%. That means that the ground protected by the canopy and shade that the trees would give now holds less groundwater, and that leads to a bunch of downstream problems. And all this is because, brown tastes good. I could have told you that looking into my camera or in the mirror. And personally, I wouldn't let that shit slide. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but if my motion got forcibly reduced from 100% to 4%, and in the long term I made it out worse, I mean, they can't stop all of us, right? You thought shit was like Willy Wonka, and the only casualties were the dysgenic Oompa Loompas. On top of that, you believe the global monopoly when they said that they care more about human rights and the environment than profits. You put your trust in a global business conglomerate.
Stupid hoe, how you figure?